Are you a recent college graduate who is also unemployed? Does the idea of networking kind of freak you out? Did no one at your college tell you how to actually find a job in your field of study? Great. Me too. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Elyse, and today I'm going to be telling you why it is so important and how it is actually pretty easy to network and get to know people who are working in your field. So networking is actually super important. I don't really like to call it networking because to me, when I think of that, I think of a bunch of professional people in business attire who are having conversations over some drinks and shaking hands and asking for jobs. And that just kind of freaks me out a little bit. I prefer to think of it more as reaching out to alumni who studied the same thing as me and asking for advice, or reaching out to graphic design professionals and having them tell me how good or bad my portfolio looks. Now, I'm not a professional or anything, but I have convinced a decent amount of professionals and alumni to have conversations with me and look over my LinkedIn and my resume, my portfolio and cover letters, and tell me if I'm doing things okay or if I'm on the right track. And here's the craziest thing. I have learned more from the past month and a half of doing this about graphic design and working as a graphic designer than I did in my 4 years of school, which, you know, if we're being technical about it, I didn't study graphic design as my major. I studied art and communication and Spanish. But basically what I want to say is that this was a really, really valuable resource that I have discovered and I've started doing, and I wanted to share with you how easy it is to do this and not stressful, and why it is so important to do it, especially right now. Also, this video is not just for graphic designers or people in a creative field like me. Honestly, I think this can apply to pretty much everyone. So let's start with why. Why is it so important to reach out to alumni and ask for advice? I'll just sum it up for you pretty quickly. One, knowledge is power. The more information you have, the more information you can use to make decisions and succeed in your job application process and your career. Next, they might think of you if their company is hiring and has any open positions. And many alumni shared with me that that is how they landed their job. Next, they want to help you, and maybe this is just me, but I'm always thinking about how I'm excited to be in their position and to be able to answer questions and assist younger designers and people who are looking for help and guidance, helping them not make mistakes that they might have made whenever they were doing this whole job application process. And finally, they will validate you if you're doing things correctly, and they'll also maybe let you know if you're not doing things correctly, and you'll be able to make those changes and not just go into it blindly. Again, knowledge is power. So now let's get to the how. So let's get back to my business person networking anxiety vision. The current global situation is almost entirely awful. Maybe except for a few things, and one of those few things is that people are at home right now and they have maybe a little more time on their hands, and they're also not commuting to their jobs, and so they might have an extra 15, 30 minutes, maybe even an hour that they would normally spend driving to work. So I would normally be a little more stressed about asking for people's time and asking them to meet up with me at a coffee shop or something and drive all the way out there and spend money on coffee or something like that. But now we have these wonderful things called phone calls and Zoom. This has made me feel a lot better about going into this process and not really worrying as much that I'm inconveniencing them in any way. So basically what I am doing is called informational interviews, if you're, being technical about it. Again, don't really like that term very much just because I'm not trying to get a job out of them. I'm more just trying to establish really good relationships and get advice from people that I look up to. So first, you want to write out a list of questions that you actually want to know about the field that you're looking into and what you could get from talking to people. Write actual good questions that you actually have, because I guarantee that you have them. Dig in your brain. Don't just look online for good informational interview questions. Actually think about what is relevant to you. After you've done that, then choose people that you are going to reach out to, your target. So I wouldn't reach out to more than 2 or 3 at first because they can kind of pile up and you don't want to have too much going on, especially if you're just starting out. But yeah, just do some major stalking. I've mostly focused on alumni at my school and also from my sorority to reach out to, and I've spent a lot of time looking within that group and identifying who's working as a graphic designer or an art director or anything like that. Next, you're gonna wanna link up with them. I use LinkedIn. I don't really know what else you would wanna do. Facebook is kind of weird. So I use LinkedIn. So you're gonna link up with them and you're gonna send them a really nice message. That'll go something like this. Good afternoon, Elyse. I'm Elyse, a recent Trinity graduate who studied art and communication. I'm trying to figure out what my path looks like over the next few months and looking for a job in a creative career. And I was wondering if you have some time this week to share your experience transitioning from Trinity to working as a professional graphic designer. I am free anytime if you are available to call. Thank you. And if you have any connections with them, like from an internship or from a sorority or anything like that, definitely mention that as well. So hopefully they'll get back with you, and once you're on their calendar, do some more stalking and come up with some questions specific to them and look for things that they could tell you and really good insights they could give you. The more specific, the better, but also don't be too specific and creepy. Don't think about something that they would like to be asked. Think about genuinely what questions you have and how they individually could answer them for you. And then do the call. Do it. You got this. It'll be okay. It might be a little awkward at first, but then again, on Zoom, have you ever not had an awkward conversation? These things with technology and using it to communicate now are just awkward. It's not comfortable at first, and that's okay. While you're doing it, take notes and be engaged in the conversation. You know, calling in general may be a little difficult, but at this point you've probably established that they're a very nice person who just wants to help you out and give you a little bit of their time and some advice. So just go into it as confident as you can be, but really just for me, I like to just expect that it's just a conversation with someone else. And it's kind of exciting and you learn a lot of really great things. These experiences so far have been a great way to get my toes wet a little bit in the networking swimming pool. And I definitely feel more confident asking people to meet up, maybe even in person in the future, if we ever can. So some other little tips to finish off with. So a really important thing to do is to follow up and maintain these relationships that you're establishing. It doesn't need to be anything like texting them once a week or more than once a day. It can just be if you made changes to your portfolio that they suggested and it looks great, then following up and saying, hey, look what I did this. Thank you so much for your advice. Or whenever you eventually do get a position, then you can share that with them and thank them for their assistance in the whole process. And also, by maintaining these relationships, you're going to be able to stay more fresh in their mind. And if a job opening does come up, then they'll think of you maybe, and they will pass that on to the person hiring. And finally, it's important to take notes and consolidate that information. I have a document that I'm working on that is kind of a revised version of the advice that has been told to me about job applications, working as a graphic designer, etc. Thank you for watching this video, and I hope that it helps you kind of feel a little less anxious about this very important part of the job process. And I've had to come to terms with the fact that it is really important too. So yeah, thank you so much for watching. I make new videos every Thursday, and I have the Draw Pod, which is my visual podcast, and that goes up every Saturday. So again, thanks for watching. Have a great rest of your day. Good luck on your job applications.